Navi, our reigning world champions, managed to scrape it.
Then they basically just figured, likewise, if it's an instant for the EMEA, they're going to have some pretty...
So it's not going to stick around for long, but it was all a distractionary measure to allow Nevix to get round the back, spinning kick mat up to the sky, an attempt at vengeance from Naga. And while it will come on through, it's not without price. 5 flame clusters managed to carve through metal.
Oof, trust me, goes down late too. You'll at least be back relatively quickly, but you can already see Virtus.pro starting to rotate to figure out whether or not Navi are going to look for the portal behind the point, or if they're going to rely on the Doctor Strange. And it is going to be Rajaro swapping over to the Doctor Strange.
Isolated in a 1 versus 3. You can see these constant right clicks trying to stop the disengagement as they do have displacement effects. The Rage of Ultron rains on down towards the back lines of Navi as Rajaro makes an intercessant maneuver. Out comes both. Oh, what an interrupt. Trust me, loses the ultimate, but Nevix pays for being so far forward to try and challenge that Vanguard. The remainder of the team is damage boosted here by Fate's Fate of Both Worlds. That's a confusing one. Rajaro has the Eye of Agamotto.
I mean, it was also a CC cancel too, so trust me, we'll have Feast of the Abyss to channel with Jerky's and
0. It's 99 to 99 and 100 to Navi. What a turnaround.
Flyer composition in a nutshell. Roll your opponent when you have better spam angles. Get rolled when you're trying to play.
The rest of Virtus.pro was kept up by Saipe's Rage of Ultron, but Sparker managed to fall through the cracks. And now Trust Me looks towards the back. Access to the Jeff. Playing around that tree stump does make it a little bit harder for the Venom to be able to try and connect with the Dark Predations as they take to the sky and get another frenzied arrival in towards the back line. Seems like Navi have most of the space control here with Trust Me just standing on business until we get first cap.
Yeah, that's going to be first cap going that way, but not full control of the space. So Fi and Saipe are going to have a little bit more terrain to be able to find themselves cover. As we can see, Trust Me scouting out Finzi so that the Captain America doesn't provide an opportunity for everyone to turn their heads away from the Flyers vulnerable up in that sky. Rajaro with the Eye of Agamotto being very careful about Nevix, but that's Carbon Crush already on cooldown. We hold on to the point objective while everyone gets set up for the res. And then when everyone's set up for the res, the Venom can absorb that position on the point. Fi is going to be coming real close to the supernova though, and Naga has already used the self-cocoon too. So if Virtus.pro with either the Torch or the Psylocke can track the Adam's location down, they should be able to stop the ultimate prematurely.
Isaac's got a good angle to try and work with here. And without these low ceilings and choke points, it's a little bit more easy for the Flyer composition to try and make a retake happen. Jojo looking towards the back. The pressure's already there. Flying above it all is Rajaro. Only the Invisible Woman is grabbed, and this is not the easiest environmental frag. You might have to commit real hard for this one. And indeed, it's the ultimate. Well, Saipe will fall through the cracks. Another cellular corrosion. An alpha strike onto Dredro. They want this shark at any cost, and he can't afford to leave the point because there's no one else here to try and play it out. There might be an eat coming through as Dredro finally grabs someone within their mouth, but in a 1 versus 6, that shark won't like wait. He's just so evasive. He's managed to get this one going for a little bit longer. Nevix opens up a portal. Finzi makes it over to the point. The freedom charge has arrived, and now it's the danger zone. Virtus.pro have to remain here, or the map is going to finish. A Vibranium Energy Sword cuts through Jerky. Naga's still far away from that ultimate, and a couple of percentage points
from the res into the fight. They would have been absolutely jumped upon from all angles by an uncontested Torch and Ultron and Psylocke. There's no way they're going to be able to win that fight. It's better to have Comic Revival in this fight, because now it means that Virtus.pro are going to have to find the eliminations with ultimates first to force that, and then have still hold on to ultimates for what comes after the Comic Revival cast.
Cyber has the second highest damage in the lobby, by the way. Kind of a hit scan monster, but we already knew that one. It all comes down to the carousel mocks, and the party's only just started.
Fi is so close to Supernova, but Saipe is going to be able to kick things off immediately with this Rage of Ultron, which is going to force out that Soulbind.
To consider the Sonic Seduction.
Saipe as well comes back on the rocket and gets the BRB to bring back Dredro. So even though Navi had Karmic Revival, Virtus.pro actually have the revives to stand toe-to-toe with the sustainability that comes from their opponents, especially up at the back of that Freedom Charge. And from it, they'll be able to out-sustain a triple strategist composition and hold on to the point themselves, all while still holding on to Dance of the Butterflies as well, which, give it a couple of moments, Saipe is going to be able to give it all of that damage boost potential. Navi a little bit too stacked right now for Sparky to go for the commitment. Endsong Inferno is going to try and push out the Solid's position and immediately force the fate of both worlds. But Naga was split, the LOS was broken, and the Atom goes down.
Grijo, tunnels under the earth, ready to go.
I go over to the Amma off of that Magneto, trying to play the rush down instead.
All right, Rasharo going to be quite the tricky customer with the diamond form available. Finz is going to have to potentially keep their distance. An Aegis shield used to protect the Sentients in towards the back. Naga needs help, but it's not going to be coming. The Vibranium Energy Source all that arrives when he cries for aid. Fire around the back, pops the Supernova on very low HP, and so he just decides to leave. He's had enough of this one. Relies on the remainder of Virtus Pro to get the cleanup that they were looking for, and indeed, the cleaning crew has arrived, mop in hand and broom in the other, and they're sweeping through Navi and make a mad attempt, meaning that Sparker was essentially unmarked that entire time. It's really hard to get on top of a Psylocke with either a Human Torch or a Phoenix, who doesn't really want to use their Dark Ascent from ability chasing a Psylocke, given that they're going to be using that up close and personal against their Psylocke for things like melee cancels for maximum DPS. And that kind of put Jerky in a bit of a bind where they had to look towards the back line. And while Saipe did catch a lot of that aggro, it gave room and time to Sparker.
Dridro as well, coming on through on the Jeff the Landshark, being able to put so much pressure onto the Atom. A lot... Don't think it's going to be staying around.
Charge can't swing away, but finally gets back to freedom. And Navi building up towards a critical mass of ults.
Navi do have that Age of Ultron coming on through, but Virtus Pro, they've got the Rocket, Seer, and the It's Jeff. We're going to see Navi this time once again not go for that brute force fight, instead looking for the high ground drop down so they can take a little bit more angles. However, Virtus Pro have fortified their position inside room, and it's going to have to be a very well coordinated dive. Out comes the Yancy 3 charge from Nevix that no one from Navi can move off of all of that damage coming on through, forcing Dridro into using the It's Jeff just to reposition too.
Yeah, lays down the...
Out of it, and then look for a TP right into the back.
Gets that down. He forgot to bring the TP down.
He forgot to bring the TP down for his team. So Virtus Pro are going to have to walk the traditional way into the fight, which also means that they have to walk through the chokes into the Heaven's Retribution from Rajaro.
Oh, that's when the pressure really starts to get to you. Just forget the little basic things. Of course, Fire's not really a Doctor Strange player. Short interruption there onto the Eye of Agamotto. And so 50% of the old charges once again redeemed. Drijo taking out and brought on back straight away. Yeah, the body block in the way. Naga managed to wrap around the back. These small hitboxes really do flourish against the element guns. There's never
main piece.
Spawn doors.
I was already soulbound though. Dive came on through, but it was a soft dive, just pressure from Sparker and Fi teasing that they would go for the commitment, which means the soulbind's not there. Self-res has already been forced from Naga because Navi just don't have the opportunity to give up all this ground.
Oh, this backline's just being torn through right now, but Saipe traded back from Trust Me, and that's a good pick because it means that BRB is going to be down as well. Look at this positioning here from Jerky, doing their best to just try and stand, but Nevix has fallen heaven on top of them, and the powers of Virtus Pro combined are going to get a lot of push.
Nevix is going to start rotating too, figuring out whether or not Navi are going to be looking for a strange portal, someone to try and go behind and still light that convoy. And indeed, there's Trust Me, and there goes the Jeff. Only goes down a sum total of 4 times in those entire 2 sides, despite the amount of focus fire coming their way. And you can see too, 13,276 healing done by the Jeff. That's a lot of sustainability for the triple Vanguard line.
A huge amount of it. Navi unable to really match when it came to that healing output, but of course a lot of their time spent defending was running away and respawning.
Oh,
that's another big play from Saipe. Like, this was actually a masterclass from Saipe IMO, like one of the best invis performances I've seen in a while.
And then here too you can actually see Dridro pop. Starlord yourself to come on through, and they've got played onto that invis for the 2-2-2 composition to have the Guardian Shield stagger onto the Starlord as well.
All right, Crisis is in actually. Interesting. So Winter Soldier going to be a big factor here. This could actually mess with Nevix's disengagements as well. When it comes to this whole Crisis noted exile, the execution isn't quite there afterwards. Fincy with a quick disengagement. And Sparker just working these margins, making sure there's no safe space from which Naga can operate, and has to play a lot more centrally to the remainder of the team. Have that kind of mono angle coming through from the side of Navi, but the mono angle, the spear, it just means that all of its pressure is put into a single point, and the armor of the new member from their roster in the form of Crisis, and really leveraging the utility that the Winter Soldier brings to the table. And it's only going to get more dangerous as the Kraken Impact's good to go.
But what's the target going to be? Virtus Pro's players are so mobile, and Crisis is immediately targeted down before Navi can use that as a win condition. Out comes the Feast of the Abyss looking for any trade. Sparker, the win condition for Virtus Pro, the Dance of the Butterflies, has also been removed, which means that level 1 Crook thinks it's winnable. Out comes the fate of both worlds, and there too is the damage boost from that Galactic Legend.
Of a disengagement, and the Trooper's Fist immobilizes them, so there's no chance for the disengage aided. But oh, in comes the Kraken's impact. It missed Redrome. The culling order hasn't been given over, and so now it means that there's going to be no reset off the back of it. Redrome just manages to get back to the Cosmic Yarn Amplifier. Fincy falls elsewhere. Crisis at least gets it done with Rotter Stern.
Had the double jump and went invisible. And Virtus Pro couldn't figure out where the invis had gone, which meant that Navi didn't actually lose the players, which would have forced them to fully disengage and allow Virtus Pro to hold on to that space and tax the return. Now Navi as well get to hold on to the ultimates. Damage boosted with the fate of both worlds for either the Winter Soldier or more likely that Venom, as Virtus Pro swaps their composition. Out comes down to the Butterflies, forcing that Lunar ultimate. Trust me, has to go for his ult at the same time, and Navi find two weak targets off the back of it.
2-for-1 trade there, make it 3-for-1 as Nevix is overwhelmed.
And Peel or Invis Boundary comes up, but it's on, which meant that Navi had all of the angles. Wait for Virtus Pro to put their feet onto point and try and build Dridro's Eternal Bond up faster than Navi's ultimate bank, and just send Trust Me directly into the back line. Sparker has to turn around and pivot, looking to Peel, which means that level 1 Crook finds a huge freeze and opens the floodgates for Navi to converge on all of their targets. Fi this time, though, moves over to the Human Torch. You can't dive him. It now falls to the Star-Lord to have to match wits in the sky.
Okay, rolling through high ground, I much prefer. You've got to take this space away from Trust Me and Naga. And Trust Me just constantly being this annoying factor. Vi looking from the back, really wants to get onto level 1 Croak, but Rajara's already taken out Fincy. Someone's going to fall through the cracks when you try and work to shut this one down instantly before Naga can even hit a bullet from the element gun. Crisis has already been so clean with Rotter Stern accuracy. Bro is an absolute prodigious generational Winter Soldier. Trust Me once again finds the soft, exposed underbelly and digs in his talons.
Yeah, that Galactic Legend is just impossible for Virtus Pro to deal with. Also, I think Fi was actually either out of range of the BRB or it got broken before he went down, since he didn't get brought back up by it. Now he's getting the Guardian Shield stagger, but this is last fight coming on through from Virtus Pro, and they don't have a good ultimate to be able to open it up with. They've got to just rely on dive attention from Finzy, drawing Navi's attention. But when Navi have damage boosted fate of both worlds, they're going to be able to live the brawl fight and win it easily.
A reversal from Idrisil Path potentially on the docket. 3-0 Marvel Rivals off the cards, coming in close and personal.
They're still on match point. Since they've now lost this one, they get the opportunity to take us to not just a different map, but they also get the opportunity to decide which ban side they want to be on. So what they could honestly do is actually pick the side which allows them to ban before Navi get an opportunity to save. And instead of insta-banning the Jeff or the Mantis, because so much of Navi's strategies, it appears, relied on that Star-Lord, drafts to allow in
Mirrored Man onto, oh, we're gonna get whelmed inside of a cafe, getting in close and personal for a brawl. The Fantastic Art continues to move until Rajaro takes up duties of stopping it mid-road.
I mean, Rajaro and Trust Me are just trading that position while Crisis peels any of the dive rotations coming on out from Sparker with their Captain America, meaning that that objective has not moved all that far. Jadro doesn't have an environmental, does have access to a spawn door though, and might be able to find the elimination off of the back of that one that away. As Navi have lost some of their players. Yeah, they're stalling the range so that they can't go for the regroup, reportal.
Yeah, as long as possible. What was speculating on potentially the instant destruction of the spawn door, but realizing that it's better to just have the longest respawn possible.
Are we going to see Ensong Inferno combined with Dance of the Butterflies for Virtus Pro to be able to find the eliminations off the back of it? Invis Magic comes
from Navi, and they're going to pay that troll toll, as Trust Me is overwhelmed with the tide of Virtus Pro. A full cap surely going to come on through. Crisis late to arrive, and the Storm Surge puts them in the ground.
Well, Meteoram normally absorbs damage, but unfortunately when you're only one body and you're absorbing all of those Psylocke dashes, you're not going to be long for this world, as the swaps are going to be coming on out. Crisis this over towards the Winter Soldier yet again to put a stop to the shenanigans of the Psylocke with that Captain America that have just had Navi's head constantly on a pivot. They really have just not been able to find any angle of establishing the ground. Rajara is going to go over now with that Meteor M, trying to find the elimination onto Virtus.pro, but Finzi just pops the Freedom Charge. And I don't think Navi have the space to even muster any form of contest before Virtus.pro have that cap. Thanks to the Dance of the Butterflies coming on through, there's going to be a little bit of a stall with the Vanguards trying to do that best and hold, but that's going to be it.
All right, and there goes the remainder of Navi. The healing just wasn't there, Mox.
Navi held on to their ultimates, though. They're really prioritizing having a good defense on third to stop all of the momentum coming through from Virtus.pro so that they can then scout the angle.
Hold at the doors.
Yeah, Virtus.pro might have Dance of the Butterflies, but they don't have any other ultimate to put the damage into it, which means that Navi with Fate of Both Worlds coming through from Fate should be more than enough to sustain through that Psylocke's ultimate, especially since they can figure out where she's going to be rotating into and have that Guardian Shield as well, contributing so much of that healing AoE. Crisis trying to figure out as well how much ultimate charge he can build. Finds the hook, not onto the Psylocke to cancel the ultimate, but onto the Captain America. Fate uses the ult, but Navi have nothing to damage boost and just have to use it to move forward aggressively onto Finzi instead.
Damage boost is fine, at least to get rid of Finzi and send the rest of Virtus.pro back into these back rooms.
Yeah, but now you don't have Fate of Both Worlds against the Ensong Inferno coming on through from Phi, nor do you have any ultimate to actually find the hit onto Dridro, which is why Virtus.pro are getting into a position to go fast.
2-2-2. This is quite the bulwark that has to be carved on past, and Finch is going to be the one breaking into the back once. Level 1 Croak, but the freeze is solid from Fate. But the back line, they've just been decimated. Virtus.pro finally found their...
The game in being able to complete.
It does stack, and let me tell you, Crisis, his Punisher is pretty biblical. Bro is a generational aimer. I think he's got some of the best raw tracking in the game, but mostly going to be using the shotgun, of course, up against these Vanguards. Virtus.pro, they roll forward like a wave, and Navi, they are not the moon. They can't control the tide. Khonshu looks on forlornly.
So one thing that Nevix is going to bring to the table, he is going to be taking a lot of spam pressure coming on through, but he does give damage reduction to his team when he jumps to them to survive the consequences of the Goddess boost when Naga decides to...
By Trijo, once again, going to be prioritizing just getting back into the fight and healing as soon as possible with that Joyful Splash. Finzi making a decision right now. Do I stay or do I go? I need to touch the cart. Nevix is going to be the first one up on the docket to make that one happen, but the damage from Naga is real, and the portal's already ready.
I mean, the damage from the stall as well. Virtus.pro have been able to chip that time bank down to almost under a minute. They're going to go for a portal. It's not going to be on the high ground as they have to worry about that 4 pushing them all off of the back of it. Navi are about to hit that win condition. Fate of Both Worlds or Invisible Boundary combined with Final Judgment. There's nothing that Virtus.pro are going to be able to use to heal through.
Eyes on Crisis right now as Phi starts to work the back. An off angle from a Doctor Strange, just a little bit of a rarity to see in pro play, but it still has its places. Nevix taking him down.
The second and the Winter Soldier to keep Sparker under wraps.
It's his turn now to tag in for a touch of objective contest, but in the corner, just slips past for Thor. He's slow in many cases. In comes Streeter's potential for the 8 big stun potentially came through, but Naga's more than ready for the arrival of the Shark. Rajara actually took them out before there was even an attempt at the landing from the Omega Hurricane. He's been nasty with the Iron Volley all day. Rajaro, he's hot hand.
Yeah, there's not enough trades either to warrant Sparker using the Dance of the Butterflies, which means that Navi are going to get a safe window to build up the invis boundary. You can see Crisis trying to figure out where exactly that Psylocke's gone, but Sparker has long rotated back to his team to keep the ultimate in play.
Okay, this is a danger zone. If you get held in the subway, you can be held here for years and years. A more billion or more as Finzi wraps towards the national sustainability, but nothing trumps the strategist ultimate of level 1 Crook, who brings up the invisible boundary and draws all and sundry in to try and make sure this one stays alive for Navi. I called it curtains, but it's a curtain call, taking a bow off the back of a beautiful performance here. Nevix returns on the Angela, but Heaven's Fall has been much overstated. Virtus.pro are going to have to defend on third.
There's an unsung hero in that fight. Someone stopped Sparker's ultimate. Dance of the Butterflies got cut to 50% when the portal came through.
Ooh.
We'll have to go back and see that one, because not having Dance of the Butterflies to be able to break through the healing done by Invisible Boundary cost Virtus Pro that defense. They'll have it now for this next fight. Navi don't have any defensive sustainability.
From the Magneto, Fire is falling low. Crisis wraps around the outside, taking up Naga duties this time into the back. No stuns are found. Rajaro can't convert. Vasia's been drawn on up and the focus fire burns through it quickly. But does it seem that there's been too much game over? Dark Maelstrom rips through Dredro even after they grab multiple players. Sparker tries to isolate a target and finds Crisis in the back line after using the Dance of the Butterflies. Inside of his Dagger Storm, there is more than enough healing for Navi to try and keep this one sustained. Virtus Pro coming back so fast from their spawn. Down goes Fi, so close to the end song Inferno, but maybe the song will have to be
into Crisis follow-up. He built Kraken Impact before Rocket built Cosmic Yarn Amplifier. Virtus Pro, though, do have a strange portal available to them. Looks like Rujaro actually is going to try and counter TP them so that Navi get a little bit more opportunity by just blocking off any of the choke that they could walk through.
Ends up being wasted because Fi didn't use the TP. Maybe they heard the chant earlier. Crisis needs to be rescued here so we can use the Kraken Impact already in overtime. Navi needs to stay on the point at all costs, and that's why there's so much pressure coming the way of Rajaro. Dark Maelstrom burns through. Trust me, we're so close to their ultimate, but Fate wasn't there in time with the Eternal Bond. So close to the culling aura inside of the Invisible Boundary. There's going to be no stuns given over.
Mantis on Torch, Pocket from Ultron on Torch, absolutely everything. And you can see that Crisis actually has got the Idol Aura on the Ultron because they know he's going to be a point of weakness that Sparker looks to pressure.
Yeah, going to be that primary leverage, which is going to be expended upon Navi, who for now are playing it very reserved. They're not getting as much contest on the cart. Yeah, just trying to play a little bit safer. They'll occasionally poke in to stop the cart on its maneuver forward, but they know that this is going to be a two-fight play either way with what's on the time bank and how much distance they have to play with. Looking in towards that Phoenix, a great dodge coming through from Fi, avoids the hot drop onto themselves. But this is a show we've seen before. Citadel, they have had a little bit of Virtus Pro's number sometimes. If Virtus Pro go for the polybans once again, we might see a similar fate.
Yeah, I feel, though, like, now that Virtus Pro got the opportunity in a best-of-5 format to go up against Citadel and figure out, experiment with their bans to see what exactly was worthwhile, this series is going to be closer than it was the last time. Because once they figured out, rather than burning bans on pure Vanguards, who you can ban them out of, but Poly is unlike Poly in Stage 1. Poly is now flexible. It's not just the Captain America that Poly plays, it's every single Vanguard, essentially, in the hero. Head-to-head with Citadel for that revenge. One more map between these two, and I